Hey, what's up, guys? It's us doing just a
A
discussion.
thing. Yeah.
A new thing that we're gonna start doing more often because we figure why not?
Because
Um,
why the hell not? I mean, we got thoughts like everybody else, so might as well
we
just
got
put them out
we got
there.
thoughts and nothing better to do with our time. So clearly, this is the best use of our time. Anyway, I'm here with Michelle and Brian. Um,
So,
and
So,
today we're gonna be talking about the E3 that's going on. Um,
mhm.
Pretty soon. It's on this weekend. We're recording this on Wednesday, so a lot of stuff. I'm glad we're recording this on Wednesday though because of that Dissidia shit that just came out this morning.
Yeah, that was some pretty,
It was a lot of shit.
pretty, pretty big news. Yeah, yeah, I would say so.
It wasn't even just that. It was like so much other stuff that they announced, like like the standard Dissidia announcements that they have every month. So
Right.
yeah, so it's crazy. But yeah. Anyway, Chris was gonna join us, but he's busy. So hopefully he'll be able to join us next week when we talk about, well, when we do our post E3 discussion. So yeah, let's get started here. Before we begin, I'm just going to start with a little channel update. So first and foremost, we will be doing more discussions just in general. And we thought E3 is a good place to start. And we'll be doing a post E3 discussion next week, just like I said. Um, but other than that, just discussing general stuff about, probably mostly about video games, because that's sort of the focus of this channel. Um, yeah, so I don't know, like, I guess we could also do one of these for the Tokyo Game Show when that happens, because
Oh, that sounds
that's
cool.
that's the other pretty big one other than Gamescom. Um,
Right. I actually might go to Gamescom this year.
where is Gamescom? I've never
so
really paid
like in
attention.
It's in
Germany, I
Cologne,
think.
Germany.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that might be cool actually.
It's
So
like 2 hours from me, so
do you know if it's open to the public?
yeah, that one is for sure.
Is it free or do you have to get tickets?
No, you have to get tickets.
Okay.
But we'll talk more about the comparisons later.
Yeah. So we could if well, I mean, let's be honest, Japan's kind of dominating the market this generation, so
Hmm.
there's probably a lot, especially even with like Dissidia by itself, that's plenty to talk about. So, and they're going to be talking about that at Tokyo Games at TGS, so we could definitely do that for TGS as well. Um, and actually, I'm kind of hoping Chris can join us for that one as well, because he had, like, when I told him, so basically, because Chris can't join us, we have like a Google Doc where we're just writing extra stuff down in case we forget. And Chris basically wrote down like 10 pages of stuff for us, which
He
I'm
wrote
really
down
happy
like a
for.
dissertation, basically. He wrote down
Yeah.
his thesis and he's waiting for approval from the board to go ahead with his dissertation. So,
I mean,
dissertation? Excuse me. Dissertation.
we are in 14 size font, but that's not that big. But anyway, he wrote a ton of shit for us, just like for us to relay to you about his opinions, since he couldn't be here. And he had a surprising amount of stuff to write about, like Sony and Nintendo, despite being a huge Microsoft fan. So hopefully he'll have some stuff to say if we do a Tokyo Game Show discussion. So that'll be pretty cool. Anyway, with the other updates, I promise we're almost done with fucking Yakuza 0. Um, some people have issued challenges for me to do against Mr. Shakedown, so I'm gonna do that. But other than that, it's almost done. And then after that, since there's like a huge gap between here and August when Sonic Mania and Yakuza Kiwami comes out, we pretty much have nothing else to do other than discussions and Night in the Woods. So that'll be fun. We don't.
Yes.
We're gonna be doing stuff with that. We have actually like a few different things planned out for that. Although we're not sure if that's gonna be like live or post commentary. It kind of depends on how things work out. So more of that. So yeah, discussions, more games, and all that shit. So that's pretty much the whole update in a nutshell. Yeah, and if you guys haven't noticed already, we have a Facebook page and a Twitter page, so you guys can follow us there. So yeah, and also Brian has his own channel as well, so you can go subscribe to that on YouTube.
Tight.
I don't really post often, but
Nice.
not as much.
Well, it's for safety,
Okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, fucking E3. For some reason, let's just talk about E3 in general first. It's 5 days. It's 5 days this time. It's from Saturday to Wednesday. So, I mean, most of the
That's
major.
such an odd time, I feel like.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's
remember last year it was like during the week. I think like every year they're starting maybe like a few days earlier than last time.
I think so. I think it was all like for this, like honestly, because it's
Yeah.
it's really strange. Other than the fact that they're also making it 5 days, like they opened it to the public this year, or specifically they opened up 15,000 tickets to the public.
Right.
So that's such a new thing. Like you think about like what E3 is, like the Electronic Entertainment Expo, I think it stands for.
Yep.
Like you think about this whole thing, like they kind of, I mean, masquerade is a bit strong of a word to use, but like they sort of present it as something like, oh, this is a thing to get fans excited for new video games and technology that we have coming out. And that's, to an extent,
It's
it is like
a
that.
dog and pony show, really, for all of the developers, and see who can dog and pony show better than the other.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
pretty much. That's what it, to an extent, that's basically what it is, at least for us on the outside, like for the fans. But when you think about it, at its core, like, E3 is almost exclusively for shareholders. It's like, E3 is where big companies make big announcements so that shareholders can get excited, pretty much. Like, that's like
Yeah,
the true
I could
purpose
see
of
that.
E3. And that comes into play. We'll talk more about this when we get to Sony and Square Enix, because that's for companies that, like, or I guess for Bethesda as well, but like for companies that publish games so infrequently, this is like, this is imperative to their success. So, it's kind of funny how, like, you look at the history of E3, and, like, it used to be so closed in general, like, only media and, the people presenting are allowed to come. Like, the very extent of people who are allowed to attend are, like, entertainers like YouTubers. But now it's become, like, such a huge thing. I think it really speaks for, like, the industry in general, how huge video games are today. And
Now-
I mean, it's funny and it's kind of strange, but it also makes me happy,
So I'm going to interject here and ask you guys, what is your opinion versus, I mean, I know there's a gray side for everything, but do you think this is a good or bad move on the people in charge of E3 opening up to the public, selling tickets to the public this year?
I would say it's definitely not entirely a bad move, if it is a bad move, because they didn't open it up to, like, infinite tickets. They only offered 15K. So
That's true. Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
I mean, I really see it as a positive thing. I mean, the more people that get to experience E3, they get to go to the booths and the press conferences. I mean, it's a fun experience. I don't really see any possible negatives.
So the only reason why I asked that is because, I mean, so I live in Europe, for those that don't know, and the stuff that I read about E3 is mostly European news. And on Eurogamer.net, there was an article written by Tom Phillips, and he pointed out some really interesting things. So, as we just mentioned before, we were discussing a possible compare and contrast of E3 and Gamescom. Well, so Gamescom has always been a public event.
yeah.
And their tickets are not outrageous. They're about €20.
Yeah, that's
Which
super
is-
cheap. Like, E3 is
yeah.
fucking, how much? $300 at least?
I think it was like 350 for like 3 days, right?
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
E3 is a regular ticket costs $250, and yeah, that's
It's
if
fucking
you
expensive. That
don't get
like
the early bird. But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing that this Tom Phillips guy from Eurogamer says. He says that, and I completely agree with this, that they are opening it to the public because of failing revenue from exhibitors themselves, is the exact quote he says. And I think, yeah, that sounds bad. I mean, if you think about it, you have all these exhibitions, all these people coming in and doing their show for, the, I guess, elite or audience. And they're not turning over in the revenue for that on its own. So now they're opening up to the public so that they can actually profit from it. Now, I don't know if, I know LA is really expensive and that's where it is. But, I don't know if it's a difference between how the general vibe is of E3, having it be more exclusive, versus Gamescom, which is like, hey, everybody come and check out all these cool games and have fun. Or if it's E3's in LA, which is super expensive, and Gamescom is in Cologne, which, I mean, isn't outrageous expensive, but it's definitely not LA expensive, I'll just say that.
yeah, nothing's as bad as LA as far as I can tell.
Right.
It's so expensive, but it's like when you can just watch like a stream of the press conference on YouTube, it's kind of like, why bother going all the way to LA, spending all this money when you can just watch it, like a stream online or.
Right. I mean, unless you're like dying for, this is one thing. If you have some niche stuff that you want to try hands-on, chances are you're not going to have 40 games or 40 developers on your list of things to try.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably you're more likely to go for like a handful of things that you definitely want to see. It's like when people take surveys, the only people that take surveys are the ones that actually really have a strong opinion, either very good or very poor, about, whatever they're taking a survey on.
Yeah, pretty much. I've actually never heard that statistic I've never looked into it, but it has crossed my mind, like, how much money does whatever the name of the company is that runs E3, how much do they make off of E3? I assume that the big companies pay to exhibit there, so these are like huge companies, so if they are paying, which would make sense, it should be a decent amount of money, but it is huge. Like, the production value is fucking ridiculous, and that must be expensive, So I don't know.
Like a few years ago, they had the press conferences like on Spike TV or like on TNT, and like nowadays it's pretty much all online.
Yeah.
Or maybe back when like G4 was like a video game channel like on TV. Like I remember.
Oh right, I remember that.
Yeah.
But isn't Twitch now
E3.
like the official streamer for E3?
It's like YouTube and E3, I think. Yeah.
I thought it was Twitch.
I think it is. No, I think it is Twitch and YouTube, actually.
Yeah.
Now that YouTube has a streaming service, so. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've never heard that stat before, and I've never looked into it. I mean, I'll take your word for it, but like, it's something that did cross my mind.
That's like, I don't know if it's just like culturally that's what is accessible to me. Like, is this other school of thought, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like from you guys, it's like, yeah, let's do this thing. Let's go. Let's everybody hop in the van and go to E3 sort of thing. And I'm just like, but maybe they're doing this because, they're doing not so hot. So
yeah, that did cross my mind, and I figured, like, in my head, like, is that part of the reason? Is it because they want to make more money?
I mean,
So,
Hmm.
but I
Nintendo
like,
doesn't even show up for the press conferences anymore. They just have their what's it called, the directs, I think.
well,
Yeah.
I think Nintendo has a press conference this year.
Oh, they
Um,
do.
yeah,
Really?
that's what I read. Yeah, I put it on the list. So
Oh.
yeah, um, yeah, they didn't have one last year because I don't know. Well, usually the way it works is the companies who have something to say or like a lot of shit to talk about are the ones who have the conferences. So,
Yeah,
like
because I don't think they've had one since like the launch of the Wii U. Because I remember when the Switch came out, they just like made like a live stream on YouTube that was like an hour and a half long, just showcasing it.
Yeah, it was very like low key
pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
compared with everyone else.
It's kind of funny the way Nintendo works. Like I I'm not sure why they feel the need to push their directs. Not, I mean, I don't have a problem with their directs or anything, but it's like, isn't I mean, like the the thing is, last year they had a direct like at the same time as E3, and I'm just like, isn't that what like? Is it just to save money or something? Like what? Isn't that? Wouldn't you gain more like, you know, fans or like
Recognition
public
or
recognition?
like more widespread audience, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just Nintendo does shit weird. But anyway, yeah, so it's open to the public for whatever reason. I'm sure they're not gonna say why, or at least I didn't see anything other than what you read about online. Um,
Mhm.
and Chris said that he likes the change, and I have to say I think it's a good change. Like for us at least. So I would have to agree with Chris on that. He says it makes it less like secretive and gets more people's hands on the demos, and that's definitely true because there's going to be a lot of fucking demos this year.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That floor, I don't know if you've seen the floor plan, but it's fucking packed. Like,
And that's the downside, like the foreseeable downside of this is having it be so freaking packed that people just don't enjoy themselves or they don't get a chance to play the game that they wanted to go there for because the queue is like 2 hours long
yeah.
Mhm.
Although
and they're
technically,
not they're not getting paid to
yeah,
cover the stuff like some other people, you know, gamers that have YouTube channels or bloggers.
yeah, and it's like, I mean, that's a problem at every convention. But like you figured that probably wasn't as true for E3 because it had like around 50,000 participants in like last year. I think I don't know if that was I don't know I think that was actually the attendee count for a few years ago, but it wasn't that high compared to other conventions. So, and it wasn't even a convention technically, like because it wasn't open to the public. You couldn't even really call it a convention. It was an expo. So, yeah, he said this makes it more like a gaming convention, which is true, and I suppose it is good that they're capitalizing on that. Although that is something that did worry me as well, Michelle, is that like, is it gonna be too packed, like to be good, or like is the fact that it's packed gonna like somehow cost them more in like in the end? So
Yeah, because who knows, I mean, not to say that the public is, some group of cretins coming in or anything like that compared with the normal crowd that goes to E3. But I mean, the more people, the more shit that can happen.
yeah. Although yeah, so I don't know. It's just it's such a strange change after all this time, you know.
Mhm.
So
Anyway,
yeah.
do we want to move on to the next bit?
The next general thing I wanted to talk about is yeah. So the other big thing to talk about, just in general, is the E3 Coliseum. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard about that, but it's kind of like this. It's also new this year. It's like a place where like a ton of developers and like I guess famous people in the industry get together like on on a big floor and talk about like, well, they talk about the games that they're working on. They also do like Q&As and stuff, and they also talk about like the industry in general. So that's a pretty huge difference as well.
Yeah, I think that the purpose of that is a good thing as far as it being hand in hand with the new public ticket sales.
Yeah.
Because these are panels that are open to the public and they feature some of the biggest names, and it's more than just them doing their show like they have done for years now with the original community that would normally go there, where they would just, do all the lights, all the sounds, all the playthroughs or previews, and hype up everything. This is a panel, right? From my understanding, the Coliseum is supposed to be panels,
It's
right?
basically like a huge panel that's comprised of smaller panels, yeah.
Right. Okay. So in panels, from the general idea that's in my brain, I guess, is that panels allow for the back and forth between audience and panel members, and that will be really good for the general public that is now newly a part of the E3 community to come. It will kind of humanize, I guess. Not humanize, rather, but what am I trying to say? Like, have it be more intimate between these developers and these big name companies, and having the audience ask questions or interact with them. It's more interaction than the dog and pony show that they would normally do.
Yeah.
And in this way, I would hope that these companies will use that to their advantage and try to personally connect with their customers, the people who've decided to come to their panel, to E3, specifically to check out their games and then see how human these people are.
Yeah. And that's that's a funny thing because, like, from my experience as a YouTuber, communication is not hot in the entertainment industry. So this is a big thing, I think, for the entertainment industry.
From my perspective, because technically, as a musician, it's sort of part of the entertainment industry. At least,
absolutely. I would say.
Well, and not even in just like the classical sense, but when I worked for corporate theater, it was very much, the customer, the audience, very very much more commercial, I guess, than any classical entertainment. But still, it's, what do the people want? As to tangentialize this, orchestras are kind of being pushed into the fray as far as playing more recent music, more pop stuff, more David Bowie, or some more, like Hamilton, or things that are more in the pop culture, because otherwise, the people who come, the original crowd, for the classical, for the Beethoven, for the Bach, the Brahms, they're getting old, and not all of them are going to be lasting quite a while, so they need to go and diversify their repertoire, as do these particular game developers and companies. They need to be able to listen to their audience and see what they need or what they want, and then go in that direction, because, the game industry, we see all the time, there's something new every year. Every quarter of a year, there's something new and exciting that changes the industry. And unfortunately, we have no idea if it's going at an okay rate or if it's not going that great, because we hear, anecdotes from the customers saying like, oh well, a bunch of us told Bethesda or so and so,
Yeah.
you need to fix this in this game. Like, oh, I wish this wasn't the way it was in this other game, or this bug is happening. That's like one of the major things. This bug is happening in this game. You need to fix it. You need to give out a patch. So
Yeah.
those are a little bit of my ramblings in my brain.
I think in general, like most games, like pretty much everybody has online accessibility now for the most part, or at least most people who play video games do. I feel like every game pretty much should have like a Q&A section where you can like, or that's Willow.
Sorry. Yeah, that's my cat.
Yeah, I think every section should have like a Q&A or something like that, or just like I don't know, something similar, so that you can actually get your comments to the developers and they can read them.
And not only that, but I feel like the developers need to not... Okay, this is going to sound creepy. Like, the only way they're going to learn how to better their game is by watching people play it.
I think so. Yeah, that's why YouTube is so important, and that's part of why I hate Nintendo, because because of the whole YouTube
stuff. But I mean,
stuff.
it's more than just a Q&A on a Reddit thread that they go to every once in a while.
Yeah.
They need to, because there's so many. They are more in tune with any innate capabilities that happen in a game, or things that cause you to do innate things within the game that you might not recognize as a player. You might just say, like, somehow there's something very frustrating about this and I can't put my finger on it. But if they are in tune to that, they should be.
Yeah.
If they're not, then they have a failing business. But especially the big names like Activision, Bethesda, Ubisoft, Squeenix, they need to see more people play the games. They can see because everything is so connected together.
Yeah.
As far as development, in every regard. So I think this Coliseum business is kind of like the gateway into that.
I hope so. If anything to make things more, to make communication happen, is a good thing, I think, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hope this works out, and hopefully, if it works out, they keep doing it in the following years. So yeah, and then so what something I also wanted to add to that is that in huge Q&As like this, there's always the possibility of, like, because this is the devs answering questions and stuff. So there's always a huge possibility, like in massive Q&As like this, spoilers always happen, like on accident. So that's probably going to happen. And then Chris also said that this is a good way to get around intentionally vague trailers, because you know how some companies do it.
Yes. Oh, they're so, like, they build you up so much, and then time come for the actual release of a game, and then it's to shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what happened with No Man's Sky. Because that is like, you can't have No Man's Sky for every company. I mean, you just cannot. There is no possible survival from that.
Yeah.
And so I think there needs to be more transparency in these trailers. I mean, don't give it away. Especially if it's story based, don't give it away. But I mean, don't lie. Don't make it into.
Yeah, don't be fucking whatever that company is called that made No Man's Sky. That there's literally videos. There's literally videos of that. I don't know if it was just the presenter or if he was actually the CEO, but that guy. There's literally videos of him, like, answering, like a compilation of him answering questions from the press on camera, and you see his face, like, and they'll ask him, "Does the game, does the game have multiplayer?" And he like smiles a bit, and looks down, and he's like, "Yeah," and it's just like, it's so fucking obvious that he was lying at the time that
Oh
I
my
don't know how
God.
people missed that.
Do you remember? I was so excited for that game, and then I saw everybody do Let's Plays of it, and then see how disappointed they were and how disappointed the entire community was. I was so let down. Like, it's such a good idea, and how like it just did not execute. But hell, they made a great ass trailer because I was so pepped for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be transparent. If it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah, absolutely. Although that's also partially, like, it's definitely mostly their fault, but also I think No Man's Sky is a classic example of hype kills things, because
I agree.
that's definitely a part of why No Man's Sky was so poorly received. So yeah, it's just
So,
it's crazy.
all right. So I want to know, what are you looking forward to most from E3 before we go on to any of the topics regarding each of the major companies.
I guess in terms of, I guess the thing about E3 this year is that I don't really have a lot of big expectations. So part of me is thinking, like, I don't feel like a lot can really go wrong this E3, like, just in general. So, I'm not really excited about much. Although the other thing about that is I'm expecting there to be a lot of, like, huge surprises, honestly. Like the fucking Dissidia thing that just got leaked. So
Yeah, that was so crazy.
it was, yeah. It's honestly, that's all I need from this E3. I don't even need to watch. I mean, I wasn't going to, but I don't even need to watch the rest of it. It's just like, that's pretty much all I was really looking forward to is Dissidia. So yeah, but other than Dissidia, I guess I would very much like to see another Elder Scrolls game, like a mainline numbered Elder Scrolls game. I'm sure you want to see it. Like, actually, that's a good question. Speaking of Elder Scrolls, real quick, if they were to announce another Elder Scrolls game, clearly it's going to be it will be available on all platforms, like Xbox One, which is what you guys have. So would you be getting? Is Colby? Well, first of all, is Colby interested in the Elder Scrolls, or not? Not that much.
Not as much as we are.
Okay, so it would mostly be for you if you. So like if if they announced Elder Scrolls 6, would you get it?
Yeah, but I don't think I would get it for Xbox. I think I might get it for PC then.
Oh yeah, if your PC's like good, then
Our PC, like, we built our PC, so.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you can handle it, that would definitely be the way to go, because you have the ability to play with a controller, and also then you get mods. To be honest, I don't know. I feel like, fuck, I really want to get on the shit posting, like, this time. So I might actually just get it for PC, even though I would not enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
Although to be perfectly honest, I would have no problems with buying the game twice. So yeah, and I mean, let's be fair here. It's about damn time that I figured out how to play PC games with a controller. So I just don't know. I mean, do you just use an Xbox controller for that?
For the PC?
Yeah.
No, we have PC controllers.
Oh, okay. How expensive were those?
I don't know. We got them, like, at a thrift store, so.
Okay. Yeah, well, apparently there's ways to do it with, like, the standard console controllers. I don't know. Whatever. I need to figure it out soon. So.
I'm too noob to know.
Yeah, so either way, I'm almost definitely gonna get it on PC. I would like to get it on PS4, but I probably will, just, like, not right away. It's so strange though, because, like, well, we can talk about the Elder Scrolls when we get to Bethesda's conference.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm excited for. Hopefully, like, a new Elder Scrolls game. I was thinking about, like, they wouldn't announce a new Elder Scrolls game like soon after Fallout, but then I realized that Fallout 4 released 2 years ago, so it's like
Yeah.
it's plenty of time.
So, speaking of that, I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
most. So every year there's this. It goes around Reddit. There's an E3 bingo every year. And I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I really want to. People like their brackets and stuff like that. I'm simple. I like bingo.
I
And
remember.
this is a great bingo card. And, like, the free space is Half-Life 3 isn't announced.
Wow. I mean,
And
that's
there's some other stuff like Kingdom Hearts 3, Elder Scrolls 6, which we were just hypothesizing about.
yeah.
Random celebrity, not counting hosts. The use of the word teraflop. A new console exclusive announced, and this was... I am not sure who made this. But, oh no, okay, it was on Reddit, on the E3 Reddit, and it was by a person named Spider Bite. Thank you, Spider Bite, for making my day.
Cheers, man.
Honestly.
Yeah, I see it now. I have on here. So last
Joke that nobody in the audience laughs at. Or, better yet, Gears of Halo Theft Auto 7.
What the fuck?
Nintendo shows something weird as fuck.
There was something I didn't play the bingo. Did you play the bingo last year?
No, I didn't. Because, like, I found out about it too late, but apparently it's, like, a thing.
Yeah. So I didn't play this last year, but something I heard about, which I found hilarious, is that one of the slots in the bingo was for last year's E3 was, if I remember correctly, it said a fucking game explain analysis mere seconds after a reveal.
I mean,
So-
Jesus.
So yeah, I like this one at the top, trailer that is in-engine with no gameplay. That's
Yes!
That's
Oh my
great.
god. Yeah. That, again, with the trailer transparency,
yeah,
this thing.
that's fucking hilarious. I might actually play it this year.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely.
That free
get
space,
in on it.
that free space gets me. That's
Oh my
that's
gosh.
great.
If we don't get a free space this year, then we have, like, to throw the tables over.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's a good one though. I mean, Half-Life 3 is basically the new Duke Nukem Forever, so
Interesting analogy.
yeah. But yeah, are there any games other than The Elder Scrolls 6 that you're interested in possibly this year? Have you played FF7 or any FF game?
No. Oh, well,
Oh yeah, you played
So-
4 a little bit.
I played 4 a bit. So I'm unsure, but let me think. As far as games, oh well, I mean, all I hear around it in this house is Destiny 2. So
Oh yeah, so you
it better be good if that's all I've been hearing in this house.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to
We have
that.
some games on the list if you want to look at them.
Yeah, definitely. I am very curious about Life is Strange Part 2.
Did you play the first one?
No, again, let us tell our dear listeners that I am just a mere poser
Okay.
of video games. I get way, way too into them if I am playing them myself, and I also forget to blink.
Oh
So,
yeah, I used to do that as well.
but I need that buffer of watching someone else play so that I am grounded in reality.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's so, I mean, maybe I'm just a big pussy, but I do a lot better if I watch other people play shit,
Hmm.
and then I enjoy it more than being scared by the jump scares. And by jump scares, I mean even in the old school Final Fantasies where you're just walking around, or even in Pokemon where you're just walking around in the tall grass and then
I'll
I'm
say the
like,
Pokemon one is pretty scary. I'll be honest with that. I think,
I
yeah,
I'm just one big puss. I just see that's what I mean when I get way too into it. Like I forget about reality. Not that I forget about reality, but I forget that I can go back to it.
yeah, that's how I feel about it too. I make the
So,
classic literature error of placing myself in the game or like in a story. So,
but as far as any other games, so I've only watched people play Life is Strange, the first one.
yeah,
But I'm very curious about the second one. Um, and there are, I'm just very curious about what VR in general has in store for us this E3.
yeah, because it wasn't like they tried to push it last year, but it wasn't that huge ultimately.
Hmm.
At least I didn't feel it was.
I mean, you do see more people doing on their channels like VR games.
Yeah,
But I'm very curious because there's so much potential from VR into every realm of life.
yeah.
And I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm excited too. I'm not. It's not really my thing, but it's interesting at least. So
yeah, yeah, me too. Because honestly, like, hello, the person that can't get back to reality from video games playing VR, that sounds like crazy pants to me.
yeah.
I would go like cuckoo for that.
So the thing about Life is Strange, we could probably talk about this a bit more, but and I do want us to talk more about this. But would you say Life is Strange is similar to Night in the Woods? Because I hear that a lot.
I would say, as far as the emotional journey,
Yeah, because that seems to be what it's about.
yes, yeah. I mean, it plays into um, just how real emotions can be. And it's not feigned emotions. It's not this weird progression of emotions that's Hollywooded up.
Yeah,
Um, it is definitely real, down to earth, grounding, and that's maybe why I like Life is Strange and uh, Night in the Woods, because it is so freaking real that you cannot help but connect with it on a very visceral level, I feel.
yeah. I do appreciate games like that. And honestly,
Hmm.
like if anybody's gonna be like if any huge or big AAA company is gonna succeed at making a game like that, it's definitely Square.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, let's see. Are you excited for like Assassin's Creed or Far Cry? Do you care about those games?
Uh, not really. I mean, Assassin's Creed, like the first few, I was thinking, oh, that's pretty cool. But then somehow, even though I hadn't really delved into the story of the latter ones, or later ones rather, my English is good. Good. My I do good. Um, it just seems a little bit too formulaic.
You mean like repetitive or?
Yeah, like it's just taking the original ones, or the very original one, the very first one, and just cutting it out and then putting it in a different setting.
Yeah.
sort of thing. In that regard, I'm like, well, it's like, do you remember the movies Land Before Time?
Yeah, I think they also became, well, yeah.
It's
It
just
was
kind
those
of
were
like this,
cartoons, right?
like, yeah, yeah. It was like just this prolonged thing, and then after like the third movie or the fourth movie, you're just like, when is the Ice Age gonna freaking happen? And like,
Yeah.
these guys are gonna die or grow up even. It's like after a while, you just don't want to pay attention anymore.
Actually, now that you say that, that's exactly how I felt about the Pokemon anime. It's literally that.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
exactly how
and
I would
maybe
describe it.
maybe that's why I never paid attention to Pokemon after the original 150 Pokemon.
You mean the games or the show?
The show,
Okay. Yeah.
the show, yeah,
To be honest, I could say what you said about Assassin's Creed is kind of what I can say also about Pokemon.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but like the thing for me is like in Pokemon, it's the new ones that really matter. You know, in the new games, that's kind of
Mhm.
what makes it unique. That's what
I
makes it
think
different.
I think too with Pokemon it is such a force of nature. I think Pokemon is a more bigger force of nature than the Assassin's Creed franchises.
In Do you mean like it's more popular or?
Um, no, it just has more mileage.
Oh, okay. I guess part of that is also like Assassin's Creed takes place in the real world. I think that's part of why
Sure.
it's Assassin's Creed is kind of limited.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think people keep buying Pokemon games and now cards again
oh yeah,
is that's like a blast from the past, but I think people get it only because of the name.
yeah, that's actually kind of true. It's like
And I feel that Assassin's Creed doesn't have that same um, oomph behind their name just yet.
yeah. Would you say Call of Duty has that kind of support?
Yeah, I would say Call of Duty is more analogous with Pokemon. That
Yeah,
people just buy the game because it's Call of Duty.
right.
And it doesn't matter if it's like a bad story or anything like that. It's just is.
Yeah. I've never played Call of Duty, but I have played Pokemon. Not the recent
Mhm.
ones, but I've seen the recent ones. I wouldn't say that Pokemon has like an impressive story. Like maybe it's just because I'm high on Final Fantasy, but I would say Assassin's Creed has a significantly more impressive story than Pokemon does. Um,
Yeah, I would probably agree to that, but I mean, they are not playing into the legacy of the name.
right.
They are not just riding on laurels um, to forward their progress.
Right. Yeah, so I feel like just in general, I still trust Ubisoft a hell of a lot more than I trust Nintendo. Um, but
Hmm.
like from the perspectives of somebody who I won't say I completely enjoy Assassin's Creed because I haven't played all of them and I don't really intend to. But I've played 3, 4, which is Black Flag, and Rogue. Um,
Hmm.
and those were not only were they really fun, but I also really enjoyed the stories in those games.
Hmm.
Um, it wasn't anything that huge, but it was like, yeah, I like it's pretty good. Like the story is enough to make me think and like feel for the characters at least a little bit. Um, like especially 4. 4 was a super emotional one. Um,
Right.
so it's like the I feel like a lot of people don't think like a lot of people who aren't Assassin's Creed fans think that it's more like Call of Duty and Pokemon in the sense that people don't people just play it for like the stabbing and they don't play it for the story. When I
Exactly.
play Assassin's Creed, at least a significant part, maybe not the majority, but a significant reason of part of why I play Assassin's Creed is for the story. So that's I think that's a big part of it that a lot of people who aren't into Assassin's Creed don't see. Um, Other than that, is the music in the recent games has been excellent, especially Black Flag. Black Flag was written by Brian Tyler. I can't remember his discography, but he's pretty famous in general. So the music is really good. And location is like, I know it kind of seems like, to a lot of people apparently, it seems like Assassin's Creed is repetitive because it's like, oh, you stab people and stuff and be stealthy in this game, and now in this next game you're also stabbing people, but it's just in a different location. But because, I mean, generally, you know, I feel like a lot of gamers just can't, and I'm not talking specifically about you because I know you know better, because I know you've watched like Assassin's Creed. But I feel like this is kind of one of those cases where I feel like some gamers just can't put two and two together for some reason. Like, the location makes a difference because it's partially a parkour game.
Right.
So that from that reason alone, the location does make a difference. And the location and the time, or the setting I should just say, has an impact on the story, the parkour, I guess the combat sometimes, and the weapons, you know. And in general, I just enjoy the spectacle, you know, of Assassin's Creed, because it's like the real world. Like, most games don't take place in the real world, but like in Assassin's Creed, it does take place in the real world, like in the real world where I can see things that I would not normally see, but I would love to see. Like in Assassin's Creed 4, it was the Caribbean, like the whole Caribbean, you know. And in Assassin's Creed 3, it was America, but like before all the industrialism hit. So like it's natural America, and that's like really cool to me, you know. It's like,
see, to me that's like unbelievably boring.
oh really? Well, I'm more of a I'm like a really big nature person.
You
so,
are, yeah.
So maybe that's why it's a big deal to me. And then like in Assassin's Creed Rogue, it was the North Atlantic and the North American river valley. So
Those sweet, dank river valleys.
Yeah, and so that's like really cool because I've never seen the North Atlantic in a video game, and like for me, video games are kind of like a out of body experience in a way.
Yeah, it's like what VR will eventually become.
Kind of, but like I already get that even without VR is what I mean by that.
No, yeah, I gotcha.
So like it gave me basically an opportunity to go to the North Atlantic. Even though like I can't go there right now, you know. It's like, so that's why I really appreciate Assassin's Creed. And now we can talk more about this when we get to Ubisoft's conference, but this one is supposedly taking place in ancient Egypt. And I just think I've never played a game that takes place in ancient Egypt, and I think, you know, Assassin's Creed has like AAA graphics and shit and animation, so it's going to look fucking sweet, I think. So, so that's like that's probably like half the reason that I am interested in pretty much any Assassin's Creed game, is just like the spectacle. So, so yeah. But anyway, that's
yeah.
Were you gonna add to that?
I was just gonna move on to let's talk about EA. Now, what is going on with EA?
Sports. That's what's going on.
Yeah, but like they're doing the same thing that they did last year, where they weren't really at E3. They have their own thing. Okay, so last year they introduced EA Play during the time of E3. And not only that, but it was just down the street.
So it's basically exactly what Nintendo did last year as well.
I guess so, but like they're doing it again this year, too, and they're doing it like I think just like a couple days before the dates for E3, so they're not overlapping.
So
I don't
that's
think.
yeah, again, so that's basically what Nintendo did this year. Nintendo just finished their Direct, like today.
And I don't know, I feel like, you know, EA is suffering more than Nintendo.
Probably. Well, at the same time, they have their yearly sports games that a lot of people like, and they release them every. It's like COD or, well, I would say Pokemon.
Madden.
Well, Madden and other shit like that as well. I would say Pokemon as well, but that's not a yearly release. So, but I would definitely compare it to Call of Duty or like that kind of series that releases all the time and stuff.
Right, right.
So yeah, they have their sport. Like even talking about like how you express that you think Assassin's Creed is somewhat banal. You would probably agree with me that these sports games are even more repetitive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I get that like teams and managers and all that shit is important and stuff, but like to me, it's like if the animations aren't that different, I don't have a lot to look forward to. And animation is a big thing to me. Like it's part of art to me.
Only like that's the only thing going for the sports side of gaming. I feel like that's the only thing, like, to me at least. I don't do sports gaming at all. Forgive me if I am too noob to know better, but I mean, the only difference that I see between last year's sports games and this year's sports games is just the only thing I'm going to notice is the graphics.
Probably.
And if they're not enough, then what's the point for me to even be interested? No, I don't like sports in general. I have like a big beef with sports in general, but I mean, there's that group of people who do sports still, who do sports games.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't get it, but hey, if it makes you happy and you can see the difference between last year's games and this year's games, more power to you.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like that is such a very archaic way to go as far as your direction in the video game industry. Now, I'm not saying that retro isn't cool or 8-bit games aren't cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between legacy and archaic. And I feel that
I would agree
this
with that.
falls under archaic.
Yeah, I would pretty much say the same thing. Like, I think in the modern age, I feel like EA has enough money to, like, really go all out, or at least mostly. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they could step it up. Like, it feels very much like they're
very conservative, yeah.
Well, they're conservative, but also it feels like all that they're really doing is ringing their a very specific audience for money, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it doesn't feel like they're branching out very much.
Yeah, they're not very diverse.
Yeah. So Chris wrote here, Star Wars Battlefront. I didn't know that was an EA title.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's like the only cool thing I think that EA does.
Yeah. Oh, they also do Battlefield. I've never. I'm
not very interested in that.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's. I'm not very familiar with the game, but my understanding is it's EA's answer to COD.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly how I would put it as well. Chris wrote here as well. They will show Madden esports again, and nobody will care again, most likely. And that's true. But like I don't have a problem with the people who enjoy sports games. I just kind of feel sorry for them.
You're not going to be showing it at E3. They're going to be showing it at their whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
EA Play that is down the street.
That's true. I would definitely prefer that they just don't waste people's time with stuff like that. Honestly.
I mean, it seems weird that they're doing it like that, like in a different location under a different entity.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why Nintendo does their thing either.
But I mean, if like, let us know like what possible good can come from that, because I am so blind as to not see why this was a good business move at all. Like, I don't understand it. Like, maybe I just don't know business, but I'm looking at this like a logician, and I'm like, this doesn't follow any rule of logic from my perspective, and I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you doing, EA?
Oh, I completely forgot about this, but we should probably mention that Brian had to back out of the call. We don't know if he's gonna be joining us again. It seems like he probably won't, but
Because right now it's the brother and sister show.
yeah, which is good. You know, I mean, I'm glad that you have a lot to talk about. So it's all right.
I'm glad too, because honestly, I didn't think I would be. I'm just pulling things out of my ass right now.
Well, I mean, it's working.
I'm not prepared.
I think it sounds like you're prepared because it's going
Cool.
pretty well.
All right. So yeah, I did a lot of research, and in fact, I even wrote up a few dissertations on the matter, and they are being peer reviewed as of speaking now.
Nice. But yeah, back to fucking EA. Chris is saying maybe a DLC for Battlefield 1 possibly. And then Star Wars Battlefront, and he's looking for a return to older games that are less of a Battlefield reskin. You know, so that I mean, I don't play Battlefield or Battlefront, so
I think Battlefront will be like the saving grace for EA this year, because
I think so. Well, I hope so.
Because of the Last Jedi coming out and the Force Awakens.
Oh yeah, that Star Wars is getting huge again for some reason.
And Rogue One, like that stuff is going to propel people to get into Star Wars games.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but that's true.
Yeah, I have a feeling, because honestly, like I don't know if this has been announced or anything, but if they feature characters from the later Star Wars movies like Kylo Ren or Rey, you know, that is like a very enticing part of the game to newcomers, I would feel.
I think that, yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but that sounds pretty accurate. So yeah. So I guess that's what Star Wars fans and or EA and or Battlefront fans have to look forward to.
What else do they have? Oh, they have Mass Effect 2.
Oh yeah, I fucking
Mass
completely
Effect
forgot.
Andromeda. But like that's kind of still newish, right?
It's new, and Andromeda didn't do that well, so
Yeah, I didn't understand the point of it. Like, well, parts of it. I was just like, well, anyway.
I've never watched or played Mass Effect, so I'm just told that it's a decent RPG series. I think it's an RPG.
Sure.
So yeah, and the only, like for me personally, the only IP I've ever cared about from EA is Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
The first, well, I say the first. There's only two Mirror's Edge games, and I enjoyed both of them.
Sorry.
I enjoyed both Mirror's Edge games. I would like another one. It might be too soon, probably. But that's literally all I care about from EA is Mirror's Edge. So if anything, I would enjoy seeing another Mirror's Edge game. But that's about it. So yeah.
All right,
so
we wrapped up EA. EA, you're done. Sit down.
All right, so we're on to Microsoft, and if Chris were here, he would be taking the stage with this one, but he's not, so I have to read for him.
Tight.
Personally, in terms of Microsoft, I don't own I own a 360, but I don't own an Xbox One. So I can't say I'm very hyped up for anything Microsoft related. In general, I really think that cross-compatibility is a good thing, so seeing stuff between Microsoft, Steam, and Sony would be great, but that's just in general, that's not specific to Microsoft. I used to care a little bit about Minecraft, but I don't anymore, so that's the only series that well, it wasn't even Microsoft's series, it was Notch's series, Minecraft, so... And I don't really give a shit about Minecraft anymore. Did you know that Hat Films still makes the trailers for the new Minecrafts?
What, they still do? Well...
Even though they said that they don't like it that much anymore.
Hey, if they're getting paid for it, then...
Yeah.
Might as well.
Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about Microsoft.
Tell me about Project Scorpio.
Project Scorpio, as far as I can tell, was announced last year, and I don't know exactly what it was. I think it was just supposed to be Microsoft's answer to the PS4 Pro.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
basically, I don't know if it
that's
was.
what I've gathered, but I wasn't. Sorry, I'm really belchy.
Like last year, I thought they were playing it up as a VR thing, kind of like the Kinect was for the 360. But now Chris wrote a ton because he's a big Microsoft fan. He wrote about 4K stuff, so that sounds a lot more like the PS4 Pro. So as far as I can tell, it's just like an updated Xbox One.
There's more RAM in this one. It says here, I'm looking at newatlas.com, and there's an article here. It says E3 2017, which games are likely or are confirmed, expected, or unlikely to appear. And under the section for Microsoft, it talks a little bit about the Scorpio. It says running a 6 teraflop GPU with a 12 gigabyte of GDDR5 RAM and will be capable of displaying in true 4K. Now, okay.
So it has nothing to do with VR.
No.
Okay.
As of now.
Maybe I'm just a dumbass, but I thought.
But maybe they're going to be like, but wait, there's more, type of deal.
Yeah, it's possible.
But the thing is that it seems like Microsoft is always a step behind Sony in this regard.
In this generation.
As far as consoles as of late. Now, they were not wise as far as introducing the Xbox One.
Yeah,
with the price that they had stated, and then Sony had presented their PS4 with a much better price, and it was much more attractive than the Xbox One. Now, with this having had we already have the newer, right, PS4, right? The
Pro has already come out.
The Pro has already come out. I hope, because Microsoft is showing the Scorpio at E3, I seriously hope they don't do what they did last time, which was make the price so uncomparable to the PS4 that it was obvious what people were going to buy.
What was the Pro? Wait, do you mean for the Scorpio last year?
No. For
the original.
The original Xbox.
Yeah.
One, and then the PS4. The Xbox was definitely $100 more.
And it was just like worse in general. They said there's no backwards compatibility. You have to pay for online, which you do have to now.
Well, I mean, they changed that more as time went on.
Yeah, they changed it.
Because now you can do backwards compatibility, but
which the PS4 doesn't have. So
as far as like the official Scorpio, or whatever, that they are going to be revealing at E3, please don't make the same mistake and have your price for this thing be $100 more than what PlayStation has.
The PS4 Pro is less. No, it's more expensive, but they dropped the price of the classic PlayStation 4 when the Pro came out.
Right, of course. No, but I'm talking about Scorpio.
Yeah, I know. So what I'm saying is, if Microsoft drops the price, keeps us a pretty normal, understandable price for the Scorpio, and then, or even like a smidgen higher for the Scorpio, but then they drop the cost of the normal Xbox One, that would be like, again, it's exactly what Sony did, but that's because it was a good idea. So,
Yeah. So I don't know. I am not holding my breath for it.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, did they say anything about a price, or is there an
No,
estimation?
that's the thing. That's the thing that everybody's asking right now is that they're going to say the official name, the price, release date of, and what it looks like at E3.
Yeah. So Chris, just to finish this off, Chris said that basically what we said. He wants updates on the price. He wants a definitive release date. He wants actual 4K 60 FPS, um, and confirmation of whether games will run on both the Xbox One and the Scorpio. And he's basically said exactly what we said. He said he's not super happy about you know
I
it in
mean,
general. He's hopeful
yeah.
apparently, but yeah.
Anyway,
The Elite controller, that's all you.
me?
Well, that's isn't that what Colby's always talking about? The controllers.
Oh, well, he's got like a cool controller, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I
anyway,
mean, he's not going to get a new one anytime soon, but I
uh,
guess, yeah, I guess there's a new version this time.
yeah, that's what
Um,
Chris was saying. He's hoping for a new version. He said people were upset with the 3-month warranty, um, and cheap bumper buttons. Um, so
hmm,
apparently he heard rumors of like sale of a first generation controller. So I don't know about that, but that's what Chris
interesting,
said.
because we have an Elite controller, and I don't think it's got any cheap quality to it.
I don't. But is yours from Microsoft or was it like a set?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it is. It's like it came in the green box and
Okay.
everything. I mean, it's got a whole bunch of like buttons and stuff
Yeah.
that you could trade out, but
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
that's true.
any of them are. I mean, unless there's a set of buttons that that my husband isn't using,
Right.
that are the aforementioned cheap quality bumper buttons.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, hopefully it's good, I guess. Moving on, Halo 6. That's all not me. That's all either Chris or you guys. So,
well, I we've been a Halo family for a long time,
mhm.
um, and we were actually disappointed by Halo 5, so we're not terribly um,
Excited.
like as pumped for Halo 6.
Mhm.
Um, I
This.
personally don't know too much about the story behind this one, um, but what I hope for this is better matchmaking for online play, um, and just more variety in online play.
Yeah. I guess that's generally what people would want in a first-person shooter. So that sounds pretty
Hmm.
accurate. I was looking at like rumors and shit, and Microsoft. I read that Microsoft stated that they'll not be showing Halo 6 at A3, but they had a surprise. Apparently, I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
So, yeah. Anyway, Chris,
Like, is it really a surprise?
I don't know. Fuck knows what they're thinking, but um, Chris said that he's hoping for a teaser, and he said that he thinks it's gonna come out in 2018. Um, but the Halo 5 trailer was pretty early compared to the release date, so he
It
doesn't
was.
have
There
his
was a
hopes up.
very long stint of time in between release and the trailer.
Do you know what the time frame was specifically?
Nope.
Okay,
I just remember it being very long. Wait.
yeah, probably not as long as like a Square game though. Probably right.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, that is the wait to trump them all.
He said he's not gonna get his hopes up too high after Hunt the Truth campaign for 5. which was exciting but didn't transfer to the story. And he's looking for a strong campaign focus, and he doesn't really care about the thruster packs as long as they're done well. So, yeah, so that's pretty much all he had to say about Halo 6. So if that's it for Microsoft, I can't think of anything else that they've done.
Hmm. Well, I mean, they have well, there's supposed to be Forza 7 coming out, but they haven't announced it.
hmm
So if you like racing, very, very nice cars.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. What else do they have to look forward to? Apparently, a game called Crackdown 3 that I have no clue about.
Yeah, I've heard of Crackdown. I don't really know anything about it, though. I actually have the first one because somebody gave it to me as a gift, but I never played it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't know about that really. But yeah, hopefully it's good. That's about all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they have more going for themselves than just Halo and Forza.
That's the thing. Let's face it. It's pretty obvious that Sony's dominating the generation.
Hmm.
But honestly, that's mostly because of exclusives and pretty
Yeah,
much nothing else. Other than generally they were good at marketing their shit. So,
yeah. Well, who do we want to talk about next?
on the list I have Bethesda up next. So
Okay.
I only have two things written down for Bethesda.
Bethesda.
So clearly, the first thing I will save Elder Scrolls for last. Actually,
Sure.
Wolfenstein, new title
Ooh.
rumored.
Yeah.
I heard that the new Wolfenstein was good, like the one that came out recently.
Yeah, I did too.
So hopefully they can capitalize on that success and follow it up with another good success. So
Hmm.
I never really played Wolfenstein, so that's not really my thing. It's a shooter, right? So I'm not
It
much of a
is.
shooter.
Yeah.
So yeah. Other than Elder Scrolls, I'm not expecting anything Fallout related except for maybe I don't follow Fallout at all, so I don't know, DLC maybe. What, I don't know. Oh, that's what Chris
I
said
don't
actually.
know.
He's hoping
They,
maybe Fallout
yeah,
DLC.
they might have a DLC that like, or yeah, that's like New Vegas style.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be really cool.
Do you play Fallout, or have you ever played Fallout?
Again, I will refer to what I previously said that I am a poser.
Have you watched Fallout then?
Big poser. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, as far as I can tell, Fallout is basically the same as the Elder Scrolls, except with science fiction instead of fantasy. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's I guess that's good.
Let's see.
Doom.
Oh yeah, Doom.
I've never played Doom,
Um,
so
dun, 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 dun. Um,
I hear good things about Doom. So
oh yeah, I mean it's like it's another example of a game living on its
on it,
past legacies.
yeah, on its name, kind of.
But I mean, I think it does have merit to it too. It's not just purely relying on the name. I
Yeah.
think it does have
Yeah.
quality to it.
That's the thing about Bethesda. I think they have plenty of titles that rely on their name or
Hmm.
run on their name, but they're far from lazy developers. You know.
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, they really, really do um, put in the um, the meat into every game
I
and
would
for every franchise.
I would compare them to Square Enix, although
Mm,
they don't have as
yeah,
many projects and still they put out more stuff than Square does. So, like
hmm
generally speaking, at least stuff that people are generally excited about. So,
yeah, they're very thorough. There's a lot of density to these games,
yeah. So yeah.
which is why um, their game titles that are how do you say, like multiple installations.
Mm-hmm. Like the Elder Scrolls?
Yeah, like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Dishonored.
Oh yeah, Dishonored.
Um, you know, they are still good quality because of how much density each one is,
Yeah,
or has rather.
yeah,
So yeah, I think they do a good job of not only relying on the name for in using it as a legacy sort of insurement,
yeah.
but then also too they back it up with substance.
I would say in terms of business model and like the way they conduct themselves, I would say Bethesda is the most balanced major video game development company.
I would agree to that. Yeah, I would agree to that.
So, yeah. We already said, yeah, Chris said he's looking for surprise Wolfenstein, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, or Doom. Yeah, so he said pretty much Chris wrote his Chris's exact words are anything but Elder Scrolls Online, please Bethesda. So, yeah.
Hey, well, you gotta make your bingo work out, right?
Yeah.
It says Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. So I guess that's the big thing is that you and I are both hoping for is the Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. But then too, like for all the Fallout 4 fans, I think like some
DLC would be nice.
DLC for Fallout 4. That's like that revitalizes the game, not just a minor add-on.
Right.
Like I want to see the game transformed.
Like Vegas, like New Vegas, pretty much.
Yeah, like New Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I don't play Fallout, so I'm just kind of writing on what other people say. Like I've seen plenty of Fallout, but I'm not a personal. I'm not a huge fan of sort of. I mean, you can argue that Skyrim doesn't have a very nice color palette, and I would somewhat agree. But Fallout has like a color palette means a lot to me in video games, and I think Fallout has a. I don't like Fallout's color palette. It's like all beige, and that's pretty much it because it's the apocalypse.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
like I understand, but it's just I can't play a game that looks so fucking bleak.
Right. So yeah, it's too real, man. Too real.
Yeah, and so yeah, going into the one that the Elder Scrolls game, or the Bethesda game that you and I are the most interested in,
Elder
TES
Scrolls, yeah.
6. So okay, let's be real here. So pretty much every Elder Scrolls game except for Arena, the first one, takes place in like a specific province of Tamriel. I pulled up a map. I went on Google Images and typed in Tamriel.
Tight.
And I'm looking at the map of Tamriel. I guess I'll ask you this first because you might have thought about it. So we've had where did Daggerfall take place? I think it took place in the place that's called Daggerfall, didn't it?
Sounds very likely.
Yeah, so Arena took place in the entirety of Tamriel. I think Daggerfall took place in Daggerfall, but I'm not sure exactly where that is. It's not on the map. I think it's technically a part of High Rock. Fuck if I know. Let me just look that up. Daggerfall. Where that takes place. Here we go. Where does this take place? I think it is High Rock. Oh, that doesn't tell me shit. Nice. Oh, here it is.
I have no idea what you're looking at, so I'm just spacing out.
So it takes place in Hammerfell and High Rock. So it takes place in two places. So disregarding the places that have already, been done. So the whole map, so that doesn't count. High Rock and Hammerfell have technically already been done in Daggerfall. Morrowind took place in Morrowind. Oblivion took place in Cyrodiil. Skyrim took place in Skyrim. So the other places left are technically Black Marsh, Elsewhere, Valenwood, and Somerset Isles, but Valenwood and Somerset Isles have been featured as DLC in other games, so I'm not sure if they really count. So really it's mostly, and I don't know if Black Marsh was part of Morrowind. I'm not completely
Oh, I don't remember now.
Maybe I should just look it up. Morrowind.
Feels
No,
so
it
old.
only took place in Morrowind, so yeah. Ultimately, if they want to stay within Tamriel, it'll be between Elsewhere or Black Marsh. Um, I would like Elsewhere, please, because it's a cool desert scape, and because cat people. So yeah,
Khajiit has wares for you.
yeah. So yeah.
That would be cool if they went more into the Khajiit.
Did you know that there's, well, like you probably already know this, but there's a bunch of like supposedly extinct races in the Elder Scrolls.
Well, the only one I know of is the Dwarven.
Well, the dwarves. There's in Oblivion they went into the Aelids or Aelides, I think they're called, which are elves. I think I don't know exactly. There's the snow elves as well. So there's a race called the Lilmothete, I think it's called, with two eyes. That's it's not EE, it's II. Kind of like Khajiit. And they're a race of fox people. And I think that's fucking radical. So I mean I'm not really expecting them to be featured in the game if it takes place in Elsewhere, but I would love that if there was a race of fox people. I normally play as a Breton because they sort of fit my playstyle the best. And they're human. Well, technically Bretons are half human, half elves, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I would like Elsewhere in general, just because cats.
That would be cool.
I'm trying.
I think too, like with that realm, with that world, they can do a lot with it. Like instead of, or well, in addition to doing features on each area of Tamriel, they can, go back in time to when certain wars happened. Like we pick up all these books in every Elder Scrolls game that talks about the past and stuff. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you can, like, not necessarily, like, time travel within the game, but, like, have a game take place at a certain period in time for that world?
Yeah, that would be cool. As far as I can tell, they've only gone forward in time,
Right.
but that doesn't mean they have to do that.
No, and too, like maybe they can work in time travel too. That would be kind of cool too. But
Yeah, and time travel's been in the Elder Scrolls because it's a magic. There's magic in the Elder Scrolls,
Right.
so it could be DLC or just like normal side quests or part of the main story and shit like that. So they could work anyway. But anyway, the part about Elsewhere that interests me the most is like it's kind of like Hammerfell in that it's a desert, but there's also like ruins, like undersand ruins, I guess you would call them. And that's like super cool. I think it's kind of like the Aelide ruins in Oblivion or the Dwarven ruins in Skyrim. Kind of like that, except more more themed to like a desert type of place. And then there's
Yeah.
beaches. Fucking, I've never been to like a proper beach in an Elder Scrolls game, and it would be so cool. So I just think Elsewhere would be so cool for a location. Also, because furries. So
gotta reach out to those furry crowds.
and Black Marsh would be cool. It's just that I don't want to go to a marsh because that sounds dull. But they could make it cool. So I have
Sure.
faith in Bethesda.
Yeah.
I already feel like Skyrim has a slightly limited color palette in that it's mostly snowy. It's not bad enough to make me dislike the game or dislike playing the game, but I would like that if they do another game, which they will, that they sort of Like, it was... Skyrim didn't have a bad color palette per se, but it definitely could have been a lot better. So, if they do another game like that, like, say, in Black Marsh, where it's mostly, like, gray or black, you know, because it's a marsh, I hope they do what they can to improve it. So... yeah, but ultimately I think Elsewhere would be the coolest choice for many different reasons.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious that we're very much looking forward to any Elder Scrolls announcements.
Yeah, in terms of like gameplay, we could talk about this more when they next announce an Elder Scrolls game, because literally all four of us will have shit to talk about. But in terms of gameplay, I would like it to be across... I've only played Oblivion and Skyrim and their DLCs. I've never played Morrowind, or... I've actually played Daggerfall for a little bit, because they were offering it for free, so I was like, okay. And then Arena. I haven't played Arena either. So I've only really played Oblivion and Skyrim and their DLCs. I would like the next Elder Scrolls game to be a cross between those two, in terms of gameplay. So... yeah, that's... I won't get too specific on that, but a lot of you who have played those games will probably get an understanding of what I mean by that. So, yeah, we'll go into more of that when they eventually release a trailer for the next Elder Scrolls game. We could do a whole discussion on that, because all of us care about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, did you have anything else to say about the next Elder Scrolls game?
Nope.
Do you think they'll announce it this year? Because
I really hope
it's
so.
been
I like
6 years since the previous one.
I don't know, because I know, you know, the Elder Scrolls Online is still going pretty strong too.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know if they're just like, hey, we have a good thing going with Elder Scrolls Online. You know, there has been nothing at all for me to guess that there is Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, that's true. But also Bethesda over time has become a much bigger company with much more money. I mean, could you even believe that Bethesda, even like 6 or 7 years ago, used to be a team of only 100 people?
Damn.
Yeah, so they've grown a lot. So much so that they have a conference. They've had several conferences at E3 now. So yeah, so I don't think it's out of their ability to continue Elder Scrolls Online and make a new Elder Scrolls game. I don't want to compare them to Square, because Square is a significantly bigger company than Bethesda, but Square has like at least 5 different projects going on at once. They've got, and we could talk about this once we get to Sony, but they have Kingdom Hearts 3, FF7 Remake, Dissidia.
Well, yeah, let's go on to Sony now.
Well, we've got a few more conferences to go, but yeah, basically to end off Bethesda, we just want Elder Scrolls, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, after Bethesda's conference is Devolver Digital, which is, I think, new. I need to look up what they do, because I've never fucking heard of them.
Never heard of them either.
Devolver Digital. Wikipedia. What do they do? It's an American video game publisher and film distributor based in Austin, Texas. Okay, so this is why they're famous. Serious Sam, which was... you may have heard of that. Hotline Miami.
Oh yeah, that's such a good game.
They made Duke Nukem 3D Megaton Edition. I'm not really sure what that is. Basically, as far as I can tell, they acquire old IPs that other people aren't particularly using, and they make new stuff out of it.
Nice.
So Shadow Warrior Classic Redux, Shadow Warrior, Viscera Cleanup Detail, Shadow Warrior.
Viscera Cleanup Detail.
Viscera, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, other big names that they've done. Hatoful Boyfriend.
Oh, I love that game.
Cosmic DJ, The Talos Principle, Hotline Miami 2, Titan Souls, let's see, other stuff. that you may have heard of. Genital Jousting. I've seen that game.
Yep. Me too.
Serious Sam VR. That's pretty much it, I think. Paradise Never, also. So yeah, that's pretty much what they do. So they're kind of, I would say they're a little bit niche at this point.
Yeah. Especially with stuff like How to Full Boyfriend and Hotline Miami. That's very niche market.
Yeah, but Hotline Miami was really big, so.
Yeah, but it was like, I don't know, it seemed like analogous to like the big indie game.
Yeah, so I would say that
Okay.
this section, which we're pretty much done with, and the next section, which is the next conference, quote unquote, which is the PC gaming show, I would say that's pretty much all you because you're the indie person among us.
Well, I don't have any details as to what's coming out.
I don't either. But is there
Um,
anything you're kind of hoping for, like from a specific developer or anyone like that? Maybe specific indie groups or whatever,
Well, I am just,
or even just like a type of game you would like to see from
yeah,
anyone.
there's, that is the direction that I'm deciding to go. Um, I very much like the games that are like Life is Strange, that are like Night in the Woods, that are
Yeah,
very story driven.
emotion based.
You know, no fighting or anything like that. Not that I'm opposed to it, it's just that, I want something that makes me think. I want something that, you know, hits you in the spot in your heart.
Yeah.
Like a very good example of it was Gone Home,
Hmm.
and it was just they these developers are managing to find ways to resonate with um, the inner self. And I think that's very important as far as not only giving a platform for games to defend themselves against the naysayers that say, video games make my kids violent
Yeah.
and stuff, which is a ton of bullshit to begin with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it is this um, not necessarily like a romantic corner in the video game industry, but more so of it is more reality based as far as content, and it lets you simulate it by going through the story without having to go through it yourself in
Yeah.
real life. And so games like that, and what's another one? I think it
Firewatch.
was called Firewatch. Yeah.
Sips played that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the beginning of that game, I was like, I don't know if I can watch it, like go through the rest of this game
Yeah.
because of it mentioned something that was very well, let's just say it struck a chord with me personally in personal experience,
Yeah.
as I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, but it was like, man, this is real life shit, and I'm like, even though you don't want to go through it, you realize that it's not your reality,
Yeah.
but because you're going through basically essentially what it is a simulation.
I was gonna say that these types of games remind me of visual novels, except with a lot more gameplay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I guess so. Then you would call them the evolution of visual novels.
Probably. Although those still exist, there are still like raw
True.
visual novels that have
Well,
like
I
no
mean,
gameplay.
there's still, there's still animals that are very basic in evolution that are still alive today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, same thing. But yeah, that is just something I personally look forward to. I would like to see more of that. I just feel that I think it's a very important sector in the gaming community for a lot of people. Even if it might not be,
so.
yeah, and even if it might not be voiced as much as, you know, the RPGs and the shooters, I still think it's an important area to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, who better to do this than the indie developers?
Yeah, definitely. I just, the only thing that I hope is that it's not another repeat of No Man's Sky or Mighty Number 9 or potentially Ukulele. I haven't actually played Ukulele, but I haven't heard.
See, nostalgia gets the best of me because I liked Banjo-Kazooie, and I don't know, Ukulele just like brings me all back to that. And
I guess that's true. Yeah, because I guess Ukulele is
but Banjo-Kazooie was like freaking good, like freaking good.
Yeah. I haven't played it myself, but I hear that about it.
And I know that Ukulele isn't as good as that, but because of how much nostalgia mirroring it does, it makes me not want to hate it.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, I can definitely. I mean, neither of us are probably Mega Man fans, but yeah. At least with Ukulele, it's like all of the effort seems to be there. It's just that it doesn't seem to have done very well in terms of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
But with fucking Mighty Number 9, like that, and No Man's Sky, those were pretty much train wrecks as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just hope it's not that. But I'm definitely interested in seeing what indie developers can do. I'm hoping that other than the not visual novel, but like the emotional based games, like the ones that you're talking, like Firewatch and Night in the Woods and Life is Strange. Even though Life is Strange is made by a AAA company, I hope that they can continue doing those because those, like you said, are very important, and just in general they're good. They're good games. But I also hope that they can bring some new stuff to the table. I would not be averse to seeing like a completely new genre, pop out. And I tend to rely on indie to push us towards heavy innovation. So even though I'm not a huge fan of indie stuff in general, but yeah, I think that's where they can shine the brightest, I guess is what I mean by that. So
Agreed. Yeah.
So yeah, that's hopefully what we can see out of Devolver Digital and especially the PC gaming show. So after that we have 3 more conferences and then that's it. Ubisoft is up next.
Yep. Let's talk about Ubisoft. Ubisoft.
So Chris says that he's a Far Cry fan. I've never really cared about Far Cry, but he said that his expectations are. He said that making it like based off of religious extremism might hurt the sales if that's what they decide to do. And he's hoping that it will lead to Vaz, or an antagonist who's kind of like Vaz, who's more psychologically threatening. I think that's... I've never played Far Cry, but I think that's... They have like a strong... From what I can tell, they have a strong antagonist lineup. That's like the one thing that I've noticed about Far Cry.
Yeah, I would say so too.
So yeah. They've already announced Far Cry 5, I think, or whatever the new one is. I think it's 5.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I hope they show off more like a gameplay trailer or something like that. So Far Cry kind of reminds me of the Square title, Tomb Raider. Far Cry kind of reminds me of Tomb Raider a little bit.
Yeah, and apparently this Far Cry is like I can see its potential to be very, very good, but then I'm curious. So, um, I'm reading from an article on newatlas.com. Just announced last month, Far Cry 5 brings the series to the US for the first time, um, tasking players with rising up against a doomsday cult in rural Montana.
Sounds like Far
So,
Cry, yeah.
yeah, I mean, so I can see the excitement, especially with like doomsday cults and that whole idea, but I am a little bit poised for disappointment in the fact that it's taking place in a rural area. I'm not sure how much excitement you could get out of that.
Yeah, so it seems like you're more of like a city type of person.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'm kind of
But
the
I mean,
opposite.
like Far Cry 4, that was the one that was in like
China.
Southeast Asia or something, right?
Yeah, it was. There was. Yeah, it was like
There was like a ton of jungle and stuff and like all that crazy shit, right?
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the steppe, but it was a place that it was very
Like the
like
steppes of Asia.
it was very hilly. I don't know if that exactly counts as the
Yeah.
steppe, but it was somewhere around
I don't
there.
know.
It was.
Uh-huh.
It looked pretty cool. I'll say that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's jungle there and there's a lot going for it as far as environment.
Yeah, and as
Um,
far as I can tell, Far Cry is always about like not city places. Is pretty much.
yeah, no, I know that, but I mean, it's like going back to, Fallout 4. It's like, well, your story better be really fucking good because there's not a whole lot to look at environment-wise.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
So
So.
that's why I'm kind of holding my breath on this one.
Hmm.
And I don't want to say I don't do not put do not clip this, but clip this out and put it out of context. That I'm not trying to say that there's nothing going on in Montana.
Right. No, there's plenty going on.
I'm just
It's just that
saying I'm just saying that I am afraid that it is set in a rural area
because of like
because of
boringness.
like um just how is it going to add to the story?
Right. I guess that's true. Yeah. Um, I don't know. Whatever they do, I hope it's. It looks like so. Chris was expressing that um, he's worried that it would hurt their sales if they focused on religious extremism. I'm not sure if this because cults are kind of religious in a way,
I mean,
but at the same
they
time,
can be. I mean, hey, CrossFit is a cult.
yeah, I guess so. But like, but at the same, like, I'm thinking to myself, I've never played Far Cry, but isn't that like kind of the point, like extremism, like fighting extremism?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely
So
is. Like, especially with their antagonists are very, very over the top.
yeah, which is cool. I mean, yeah, it's like I don't think we should have to shy away from things because of like fucking news or politics or whatever the fuck. It's like
No, I agree. I mean, be edgy, but I mean, how are you going to be edgy in the
Mont.
country?
I don't know.
In
I
Montana?
think we're kind of like numb to it because we live in the U.S. So I
Yeah, I
don't know.
guess so.
I think it's kind of I don't know. I think we can't see it properly because we live here. Well, we don't live in Montana. We live in Illinois, or you. I live in Illinois.
You live in like I'm thinking that maybe it's because I'm living in just like
Yeah.
there's I like maybe I've just been exposed to something other than the US for a long time and maybe that's changed my perspective.
Maybe it's possible. I'm not really sure, but ultimately, I hope it does well. I never had anything against Far Cry, so. But I like Ubisoft enough, so I hope it does well. Um, Other than that, Assassin's Creed Empire
Yeah, and also the South Park.
Oh yes, what's it called? South Park: The Fractured Butthole.
Yeah, the fractured butthole.
I've never I've never been a fan of South Park the show, and I've also never played the games, but I hear that the games are pretty good. So
Yeah, the games are like like stupid funny.
yeah,
Um, like in order for you to, get to this item or, get to this level, you have to do something dumb.
yeah,
And I mean, it's fun in that way. Um,
yeah,
and I think what it does that might explain why you think the games are better than the TV show is that I think in order for the longevity of the game or for the longevity of this world to last the game, they have to dilute the TV show in order for it to
yeah.
fit into the game.
Probably that's probably part of it. Either way, I've never really been interested in South Park, so I'm probably not gonna get it or express any interest in it. I probably won't even watch it, to be honest. But I'm glad that people are enjoying it because I
I
think we
used
need
to
more.
like South Park.
Yeah, I don't know. I like between those sort of like adult comedy cartoon type shows. I definitely also South Park's art direction is fucking creepy. I don't like it.
I remember when you were like a toddler and I showed you the Michael Jackson
I kind of remember
South
that.
Park. And when his jaw fell off, like you freaked out so hard and you told mom and she was like fucking yelling at me for showing you that. And I'm like, what? You're showing me this and I'm only like, what, 12? Something.
Yeah, so I don't know. But
I I just remember like making your childhood that much more horrific by showing you the Michael Jackson episode of South Park.
yeah. But even still, like, I don't think it's good.
Oh,
Like, it's just it strikes me as lazy. Like, there's other cartoons that, for better or worse, are animated a hell of a lot better. Like The Simpsons or Family Guy. You know.
uh, I'm gonna disagree with Family Guy. I don't like it.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't like Family Guy that much either, but I still think it looks better.
Oh, I see. Well, it's just a different art style, though.
I know, but like I don't like the the South Park art
Don't
style.
like it. I don't like it.
Like I would say probably okay, well, from that time frame, my favorite adult cartoon would be Futurama.
Yeah, agreed.
But now
That
that
is good.
I mean, I I don't think Futurama can compare to Rick and Morty, but Rick and Morty has only been out for like a while, so
I don't know how many seasons Futurama has, but it has a lot.
it's got a lot. It's a good show, I think. So
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I also
Well,
just
anyway.
in general, before we move on, I don't really like Family Guy a whole lot, but I think the Cleveland Show is better than Family Guy. So
I haven't seen that.
it's
But you
ultimately
like it?
I wouldn't say it's that good, but yeah, I still think it's better than Family Guy.
I see. I see.
So yeah,
Right when Family Guy started getting like super gory, I was just like, why?
the fucking like
Stop.
5 to 10 minute chicken fights. It's very impressive, but
Yeah.
it's also super weird.
I'm just like, why can't you just go back to quoting musicals and stuff and singing musicals? I'm
Yeah,
totally for that.
yeah. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. So that's the South Park game that I don't really care about. Assassin's Creed Empire, which we were talking about before. Chris said he's hoping it's Egypt. I'm pretty much convinced that it is Egypt.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, it says Empire. It could technically be like any empire, but like they've been teasing that it's Egypt for a long time. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, Chris is hoping that it is Egypt because it's less of a Western environment. I would have to agree with that, although I would say that Istanbul isn't really Istanbul, or what's the place in the first game? I don't remember, but it's like where the original Templar Wars versus Christianity versus Islam
Oh, like the
happens.
Crusades?
Yeah, because that's where the first one. That's the only one that technically makes sense with the whole Templars
Mm-hmm.
thing. I
Mm-hmm.
can't. Oh, Jerusalem and Istanbul. I wouldn't call those Western, but
No,
I
because
would
they're
call.
Middle East.
Yeah, those are like Near East. I think you might call them. But yeah. So the recent ones are quite Western, like London and the whole America trilogy, and all that stuff. But yeah, I would like to see. I mean, I don't really have a problem with it being Eastern or Western. Ultimately, what I want is like something really different.
Yeah, same.
And plus, the thing is, like we were talking about like how I'm more of like a wide open. Well, not necessarily wide open per se, but like more of a nature type of person. You're more of a city type of person.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that because this takes place in ancient Egypt, that we can get a nice balance between those two.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Because you
Or
can,
even like, another ancient civilization too.
yeah. Ultimately, I think I would be most excited for Egypt, just because I've been
What
hyped up
about
for it.
the Mayans?
That would be cool. I hope we do that in the future.
Hmm.
But yeah, that would be badass. But yeah, I'm
Hello,
hoping.
Toltecs.
Yeah, Toltec. Yeah. Egypt. I think Egypt's a great choice because of the pyramids, and you could like go inside the pyramids, and there would be like traps and stuff, which would be kind of like one of the AC2 spin-off games, like Revelations, I think. Um, so that would be cool, and then you could go on top of the pyramid, and those are really tall, so you could get like an awesome view, and that would be
Yeah,
nice.
and not only that, but like it just holds so much like um
History.
wondrous stuff, like some conspiracies, some mythology, um, unknown things, that they can really play off on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Assassin's Creed is a slightly science fiction series,
Hmm. Hmm.
so they could definitely
Because
play
the guy
into
is
like
traveling back in time.
well that, but also well he's not really traveling back in time. He's sort of looking at his ancestors' memories. It's sort of the idea.
Right, right.
But other than that, like they have the whole Apple of Eden.
Semantics. Shut up.
Yeah. They have like the whole Apple of Eden shit and like the whatever those things are called. I can't remember. But like there's a lot of
They
like
should go back to Jesus times.
that would yeah, that would be cool actually. Um, but yeah, ultimately, I think Egypt is an excellent choice. And because I think, like I was saying, we could get a nice balance between like a sort of a city-based place, like the cities and the empire, and like the desert scape. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that would be really cool. It sounds kind of empty, but like you might think, well, deserts are kind of boring. But think about like Assassin's Creed 4, where it's like an ocean, well, or like yeah, an ocean. That's kind of no different ultimately. So
Hmm.
yeah, and Black Flag was fantastic. So it would probably be quite similar to that. Um, so that would be really cool. And then there's also the possibility of like being in the Mediterranean as well, if it's in
Right,
North
as like one
Africa.
of the ports and things like that.
Yeah, so that would be like they said that they were going to include ships again, because 3, 4,
Hmm.
and Rogue were big on the ships and the naval stuff.
Nice.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if there's going to be naval battles, but they said they're definitely going to have ships. Chris said that he said that Empire could be kind of like Revelations because Istanbul was like one of the best environments. Um, and he was saying they could like be doing naval stuff on the Nile. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, so that would be. I think it's very promising, and apparently because they've taken a break from Assassin's Creed. Apparently they've been working on this one since 2014. So this is like a lot longer than they've spent on the normal Assassin's Creed games. So I'm expecting it to be pretty good. Um, I'm hoping that I think it's pretty important that they nail the personality of the main character, in this one because this one's kind of a prequel to the other Assassin's Creed games.
I see.
And apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think the main character is like a slave. So
Oh, okay, interesting.
they said, like, I think the words that they used was like the main character is going to be kind of like Altair except with darker skin. So
Okay.
yeah, so that would be pretty cool. Yeah, ultimately the environments are going to be pretty cool, I think, because it's like a city, like a nicely decorated ancient Egyptian empire city. And I just think that's really cool. And you could meet characters like Cleopatra, that would be badass. And other characters from that time frame. There's like you said, there's plenty of room for like sci-fi shit. That would be really cool. So yeah, ultimately I think it's gonna be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to it. I have relatively high expectations, which I normally don't have. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's shaping up to be pretty good if they do a lot of the stuff that I'm hoping they do. So yeah, so going back to Ubisoft, that's pretty much all I have. I would like to see another Rayman game, obviously. I don't care if it's 2D or 3D as long as it's good. So
There
yeah.
is an incorporation of Raymond's Rabbids with Nintendo.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that in the Nintendo
Yeah.
section, but
Mhm.
yeah, in general, I would just like a normal Rayman game, kind of like Rayman 1 and 2.
Mhm.
Either style, ultimately, I don't really care. I just kind of hope it's not like the recent ones, like Origins and Legends, because those were fine, but I don't know, I'd kind of like to see a different art style
Yeah.
and gameplay
Yeah.
style, hopefully, so... Yeah, so that's pretty much it for Ubisoft, except will Aisha Tyler host again? Ubisoft always has
Dude.
weird conferences.
Well, Aisha Tyler, outside of this area, is freaking hilarious.
Hmm.
So I love her. She voices one of the characters on Archer, and you see her every once in a while on Geek and Sundry on YouTube with Will Wheaton. She's got this inner nerd thing going on, but I'm not sure how much. I feel like she's like waving her freak flag a little bit higher than she has in herself. Like the proportion of how high her freak flag is flying is disproportionate
Yeah,
to how much nerd there is in her.
yeah,
But
I think that's probably true, but I don't know. Hopefully, Ubisoft, whether it's good or bad, Ubisoft always has an interesting conference, so
yeah,
that'll be fun.
they're
Keep
like
keep your eyes on Twitter, everybody.
they're like the funny violist of the
Yeah,
bunch.
pretty much, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Ubisoft. Moving on to Sony. I have stuff to say about Square Enix because they don't have a conference this year. But Chris has some stuff to say about Sony. He said Call of Duty will most likely be here due to the partnership. So he's excited for Boots on the Ground's return. Call of Duty Boots on the Ground. He's worried about like sort of the core gameplay mechanics, like health regen in single player. He wants them to clarify if they have it in multiplayer as well. He's hoping that they ditch stuff like specialists and sliding like they have for the past recent games. He's hoping zombies will be more gritty if they do it at all.
Yeah,
Hope,
I think they will. I think they will because it has its own following. I feel like
that's how I feel about it too. Yeah, from what I've
so.
noticed.
Yeah.
He's hoping supply drops are cosmetic only, and for a realistic for the time period. He doesn't really want them in general, but Activision wouldn't do that apparently. So
Yeah, I remember that. So
yeah, he says that Sledgehammer's been pretty much shitting on previous games with jetpacks. hoping that it's not just marketing but an actual dev goal to stray far from the past few years. Doesn't want to. Chris doesn't really want to see more story stuff either. He said that it's very emotional and gritty, but he doesn't know how much else they can say about it without spoiling it, which is understandable, I think. So.
But I feel like too, it's so standalone with its just shooter aspect.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't play COD for the story, so.
Yeah. And it's very much different from Destiny, which we're going to get into next, because Destiny has so much story to it, and it has such unknowns within the story that it's still piecing together as new material comes out. So I think that that is something that players are attracted to for Destiny.
Right.
In addition to the shoot 'em up bits.
Yeah. So then moving on to Destiny 2, Chris says that there won't be gameplay most likely, but more story development he would like to see.
Yeah, and again, there's so many unanswered questions, and we're not quite sure, the origins of Xur. And we know he's from Jupiter and he comes by every once in a while, but I would really, really love for the story to go toward that area, especially because I'm personally intrigued by it. And who are the Nine? How are they functioning in this realm? Stuff like that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, and actually that kind of reminds me of something I forgot to mention about Assassin's Creed. They said that they really need to nail the real life part of it and sort of like tie it cohesively together, because they still feel that it's really not a big part of the game, but they feel that it's an important part of the game. So I think it's interesting how they're going to do that given the previous recent titles. It's not a huge deal to me, but if they want to make it, so be it. I don't have any problems with things being better, so.
Yeah. And not only that, but the trailer, I'm just going to say, the trailer for Destiny 2 was on point.
I haven't seen it. I would just like to say I've never played Destiny or seen much of it, so...
Well, if I feel like the trailer for Destiny 2 is very accessible to anyone, as far as, reception-wise. I'm not talking about, like, internet-wise. I'm talking about, like, how you react to it. It's very accessible to different audiences. And another thing that I really hope for Destiny 2 is that they freaking nail the voice actors, please. I am tired. I was so tired of... I love Peter Dinklage, but, I mean, he is not a voice actor. He is an on-screen actor.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know they were trying to utilize him because of, I'm sure it was because Game of Thrones was like hyped up and all, and he was in it. Just some star power for that. Yeah. And I feel like it's much more appropriate with the other people that they got for Destiny. Like they have Bill Nighy as, not Bill Nye, Bill Nighy as the speaker, and they have Nathan Fillion, which is a nice, very nice homage to the science fiction community, or especially in regards to television shows.
Yeah.
And he's great as a voice actor as well as on screen. So I hope they keep. I hope for sure that they keep him and Bill Nighy. But also too, I really want them, like, as far as anything else is concerned and new characters popping up, don't just use star power. Do people who are great at VO. That's really... Otherwise, you're just going to get another Peter Dinklage incident where we're all just mocking the ghost, and it's no fun.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want you to fail so that we can laugh at it. You know,
Yeah.
although it was funny for a period of time, but the stint went for way too long, and it got very dull after a while.
Yeah.
So
I could definitely imagine that.
I'm thinking get better or good, really great VOs. Definitely, especially if you're going to enhance the story.
Hmm. Yeah, voice acting is pretty important to today's stories, I would say.
Hmm.
So yeah. Chris also says that it seems like they really learned from the first game, eliminating grimoire cards, and they're gonna make the story better, like we were just talking about.
Yeah, grimoire cards. I don't like. They're such like a elusive thing that like really what it is from my perspective. Okay, let's make it clear that I watch my husband play this game, and he's just hunting for these grimoire cards, and it's not like they're the only. It reminds me of the days when you would get your Nintendo Power magazine and figure out how to get past a certain level. Because the only way that you were going to pass this level is if you had Nintendo Power magazine and it told you.
Yeah.
You know, it was like one of those, because that was exactly what the grimoire cards were. Like, he had to look them up online, where to find them, in order to get them. And I'm sure that's the case with everybody else. It's not like...
It's not obvious.
It's not obvious, and then if you have to do that, then what's the point?
Yeah. I can definitely understand that. Even
Because
without
once
playing the game.
everybody understands, I have to go online to figure this out, then everybody's going to be able to get it.
Right.
Then what's the point of even having it there in the first place?
Yeah. So, hopefully they get rid of that. That sounds really boring, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Chris also said that Halo 1 and to Halo 2 were very different from each other, so Bungie definitely has his attention. So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And I really hope Halo 6... I hope they do a good job with that.
Yeah, and it looks like Destiny 2's shaping up pretty well in general, so that's a good thing to look forward to on both major consoles.
Yeah. Why don't you talk a little bit about Squeenix?
Yeah, so Square doesn't have a conference this year for some reason, despite I think they have enough to talk about, but whatever. Probably the first thing they'll talk about is FF12's remaster, The Zodiac Age. I think there's really not much to show off, honestly, and to be perfectly honest, I don't really want them to spend any more time on it because the release is like a month away, and all the people who are gonna get it are gonna get it, and that's pretty much it. So, like other games that are coming out real soon, I would say the same thing. Maybe a new combat trailer or something. That's pretty much all it is. I will say that the Zodiac job system looks pretty cool. I've never played 12, even the original, like the Western version. So I don't have any familiarity with the Gambit system or the Zodiac job system. It looks interesting. I was planning on getting the Zodiac Age immediately, like right when it got out, or comes out. But based off of all the other stuff that I'm gonna be doing, I don't know if I'll have time to do it or to play it, so I might just get that later on. I'm not too sure, but it does look quite good, so at some point I will probably play it. So Kingdom Hearts 3, fucking waiting for that game for a long time. I'm not personally a Kingdom Hearts fan, but I know other people have been waiting for it, and I'm gonna guess that that's gonna come out this year. The thing is, Square announced, and in this we can talk about two other games that they're focusing on. So Square announced that Kingdom Hearts 3, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this new Marvel IP are going to be coming out within the next 3 years. Or like in the next 3 years. So all those articles you saw where people were saying, "Oh, FF7 remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 are coming out in 2020." That's fucking clickbait. That's not what that means. It means that each game is probably going to come out 1 year after the other. That's what that means. And again,
Lame.
that's what it means. That's again, this information wasn't even really for fans. That information was for shareholders, so that they don't get pissed off. So I'm going to guess that either the FF7 remake Chapter 1 or Episode 1, I should say, is going to come out this year. So either FF7 remake Episode 1 or Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out this year, and then the other one, depending on which one, the other one between those two will come out next year. I think both of them have a good chance. I'm thinking Kingdom Hearts, partially because Dissidia is coming out early next year, but at the same time, I don't know. It can go either way. They've had some development troubles, or not really troubles. That's a bit harsh of a word. With the FF7 remake, they've changed some stuff around, so I don't know how far back they might have been pushed.
Yeah, they had some bumps in the road.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
I'm not sure about that one, but either way, one of those is definitely coming out this year. And then the other one will come out probably next year. And then that Marvel IP, I have no fucking clue what it is. I don't really care about Marvel or comic books or anything like that.
Me neither.
So that'll be coming out in 2020 probably, or 2019 or 20. So they might show a trailer for that. Who knows? I don't really care. But whatever it is, I hope it's good. So yeah, so that covers those three. We talked about Life is Strange. They confirmed that Life is Strange 2 is in development, so we'll probably be getting news on that, possibly a teaser trailer or something like that. Hopefully that does well. I heard a lot of good things about Life is Strange, so sounds pretty cool. Dragon Quest XI, pretty much everybody on this side is hoping that they announce a localization for that game. So I hope you guys get that, for those of you who are excited about it.
I'm surprised that it's not already there. You know?
It feels very much like Final Fantasy is the Western series and Dragon Quest is the Eastern series for Square Enix.
Okay.
I don't think it needs to be like that, though. So
No, right.
yeah. So hopefully people get news on that. Final Fantasy 15, I honestly hope they don't spend any time on this, but if they do, hopefully it's only for DLC. So yeah. So the big one there is Dissidia.
Yeah.
I wrote here Dissidia Final Fantasy Arcade, but it's actually called Dissidia Final Fantasy NT now. So the thing is, this game has been in Japan in the arcade since November 2015. And they said, when the game came out, that they were going to have it exclusive to the arcades for a year, and then they were going to start pushing it towards PS4s worldwide. But the thing is, the arcades have had that game for almost 2 years now, and they're still not even fucking close to being completely ready, according to what they wanted. I'm super glad. That fucking trailer was... Oh my god. I haven't been this happy about a video game.
That was pretty dope, yeah.
I haven't been this happy for a video game in a really long time. I was just so fucking excited this morning when I heard about that. I was not expecting it at all. I was expecting that game to come out next year. Well, no, I was expecting that game to come out 2 years from now, honestly. Because the thing about it is that it's been in Japan for almost 2 years. I figured they might give a possible trailer or an announcement or something, but either way, I still believe this, but I thought to myself, they need to speed the fuck up, because they said that they wanted 50 characters at least. And we don't even have all the ones from the old Dissidia. The old Dissidia, or the previous one, not the original, but the sequel to the original, Duodecim. Duodecim had a bit over 30 characters, I think 31 or something like that.
Sure.
Right now, the arcade game, the new one, only has 23, I think.
Out of the 50 that they
Out of
want
potentially
to
50 that they said that they wanted in the game. So, and they've, up until recently, they've only been releasing a new character once every 2 months. That is not fast. That's 6 characters a year. That is not anywhere near fast
Yeah.
enough. Even if they released a new
Maybe
character,
it'll be DLC.
yeah, I hope it's free DLC.
Who knows?
So what I've thought is like they could add. I don't ultimately care when this game gets ported / localized, because it already has my main in it, Lightning. So
Mhm.
I'm pretty much set on that. And the music's going. We have a ton of music already. They've been working on a story mode for a while. So it pretty much looks like that game is done. And plus, in the trailer that they released today, everything was in English except for the voice work.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure, they definitely have the money to make it and give it an English voice cast. I'm not sure if they plan on it. But the funny thing about it is this game, even just from being in the arcades alone for like almost 2 years, has raked them in a fucking shit ton of cash.
Maybe that's why they're waiting so long. They're just, trying to milk the arcade area for this game for what it's worth, and then go over to the other side.
That could be it. What I felt it was is, other than like the deal with the arcades, was that they wanted it to be like a proper testing ground, so that they can balance it out mostly before they can release it to the PS4s.
Okay.
Which is understandable, but I only think they needed like a year for that to happen, not 2 years.
Right.
Honestly, it's because they're not doing it fast enough is the real reason, honestly. And I should mention this. This game is being handled, for the most part, in terms of gameplay at least, it's being handled by the same team, by a team owned by Tecmo Koei, called Team Ninja, and they're responsible for Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive.
Okay.
And just in case anybody's wondering, no, they're not using the fucking soft engine on this game. But it does look fantastic, even without that. The game looks amazing so far, and I'm super excited. I've been watching like videos online of this game for like a long ass time, pretty much ever since Ace was revealed, and that was like 6 months ago or so. Like ever since then, I've been following it very closely. So yeah, but anyway, back to the characters. What you said is very possible, that they're trying to milk the arcades. But the thing is, what they said was when the PS4 version comes out, and they have like more characters and stages and stuff, they're going to be releasing it for a very short time, like maybe a week or two, to the arcades, like updates to the arcade first, so that people feel the need to go to the arcade still, and then give it to the PS4s. So there's that. So they're not really going to lose their arcade audience, at least not completely. The other thing is, you said that they might be just ringing the arcade audience for cash. The thing is, they're expecting to make way more money because they want this to be an esport.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's possible. It's a
you know
3v3
what?
game.
That might be why they're taking their time.
Because of the esports setting up stuff that. Yeah, that might be true. I feel either way, at E3 they're definitely going to show this trailer off. They might show Noctis off.
Yeah.
They said that this year was going to be exclusive to villains, but I don't know if they had planned this when they said that. So I feel like they might make an exception for Noctis, because like tons of American or just Westerners in general love the Choco Bros. So, and they loved FF15, and FF15 was the introductory game for a lot of people to the series. So, seeing Noctis in the game would be awesome. And I think they've had enough time to work out his moveset so far. So I hope that they're ready with Noctis. I hope they can show him off at E3 as well as this trailer, and possibly some news about the esport that they have planned. But in terms of the characters, they need to speed it up. And on the update today, other than the new stage that they revealed from FF3, the Floating Continent, they mentioned that they're going to have another stage in November. And also they're going to be, as opposed to before when they were releasing a new character every 2 months, they're going to be releasing, for the next 4 months, a new character every month. So that's
okay.
really speeding up. But at the same time, they still need to keep up that pace, because even if they do one character a month, that's 12 per year. That would only get us to 35 by next year, and then 48 by the year after. So it would take us 2 years to get to 48, which is too shy of the 50 characters that they wanted.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, but either way, I'm very excited. Other than Noctis, who I'm hoping they show off at E3, I'm hoping that next year they show off Gabbrinth, Judge Gabbrinth, the antagonist from FF12, since it would tie in nicely with the Zodiac Age coming out in July. Plus, I've sort of decided at this point that Gabbrinth is like the most badass, or like the coolest antagonist in the series. Not the best, but definitely the coolest. I think his voice actor is just so cool, and like his character, everything about him is awesome. So yeah, so I'm hoping to see Gabbrinth next month, and I'm hoping this does really well, because this game looks fucking amazing. So yeah,
It really does. It really does.
I'm super excited. I hope they offer at least a little, because like in the arcade you have to have a Neshka card to play ranked matches online. I'm hoping that, because I don't have PS Plus and I don't want to get PS Plus, I'm hoping that they at least allow free play online. So like not like ranked, but like you can just play with anyone online if you don't have PS Plus, or at least join like tournaments or something. You know, because online play is really cool, and I would like to play it even though I don't have PS Plus. So hopes are high for at least a little bit of that for those of us who don't have it. So yeah, but ultimately that's like the most exciting thing for me this E3 or this year, especially from Square, is Dissidia Final Fantasy NT as it is. And yeah, I guess we could talk about that more later in another video or something. So yeah, other thing from Sony is Yakuza Kiwami. I'm hoping we get a gameplay trailer for that. We already know it's coming out in August, so and I guess also Sonic Mania / Sonic Forces, that would be cool too. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Sony. Last on the list is Nintendo. The Switch is out. Chris says that he just wants some new game announcements, particularly Smash Bros. Or Pokemon, and updates to their online subscription as well, or any new features being added. That would be cool.
There's a lot of Pokemon stuff.
There's a fucking shit ton of Pokemon, yeah. In terms of Smash Bros., so I was wondering about this. So the thing they did with Mario Kart is they released like a new, better version of Mario Kart, because that was a Wii U title, Mario Kart 8. They re-released it to the Switch with like better shit. I feel like for people to want to buy Smash Bros. Again, they would have to add like several more characters and stages and like things, you know. So
yeah. Well, what I want to talk about too is the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
yeah, I don't have a lot to say about that other than I don't really like the Rabbids that much.
I am just confused as to why is there a Nintendo and Ubisoft crossover.
I mean, I don't mind the crossover. It's just like, why not just Mario and Rayman? Like, what the fuck, Ubisoft?
I think it's just, you know, like how people are more attracted to like the minions from Despicable Me.
Yeah, that's how
sort of thing.
That's how I've heard some people refer to them, as proto minions. I don't like the minions either, but I think it's supposed to be like a very much marketed at kids. I mean, you know Nintendo, but like this game specifically is supposed to be very much a kids game, so hopefully the kids like it, I guess. So it's a strange crossover. I'll definitely agree to that.
Yeah.
It's weird as fuck.
But I feel like the only thing Nintendo has going for it is Pokemon and then Mario this year.
So Mario Odyssey, which looks a lot like Sonic Adventure, honestly.
That's funny.
It's weird. I don't know what to think about it at all. I just hope we get more information on that. I'm not gonna get a Switch probably, so
Yeah.
But I'll keep my eye on this game. Hopefully it's good. Mario Odyssey. It's like the first original Mario game that we've had that's since what's it called? Since Galaxy. That was like a new idea that's not ripping off Mario 3. And
Yeah.
that's why I think this is interesting. Nintendo's played it so fucking safe with Mario, and they need to stop doing that. So I'm glad that this Odyssey game is coming out. It's too bad it wasn't a launch title for the Switch, but I'm just hoping it's good, you know.
Right.
And hopefully they can release a trailer for this at E3 or something like that. So yeah,
But I mean, like, it's why is it just Pokemon and Mario?
because those are the only ones that they really trust. It's like, let's face it, they
I
don't care
mean,
about
they have they have Donkey
Metroid.
Kong. They have Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know,
Maybe.
Kirby.
That's why I'm hoping for surprise. I think they mentioned something about
Oh, Fire Emblem.
Kirby. They mentioned Kirby as well, I think. But yeah, Fire Emblem. People are hoping for a Fire Emblem Switch game. I don't think that will happen for a while, but I think it will happen eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it is kind of sad how it's just mostly Pokemon and Mario, because like they clearly don't care about Metroid or F-Zero, or they don't care that much about Star Fox either. And
Not anymore, it seems.
Star Fox Zero wasn't received that well comparatively, so yeah, I don't know what to think about that. Which is funny because Star Fox is like the very first. Star Fox 64 is like the first game I ever played, so it kind of has a place in my heart, even if I don't really like
Yeah.
Nintendo.
I mean, there's so much nostalgia attached with Nintendo for me that I really just hope that they pull through. You know,
Yeah. Well, if it's any
if
consolation, they have plenty of money from the Wii.
yeah, but I mean, if they have to pull through with just using Pokemon and Mario, like,
That
I
would be
don't
sad.
know. Yeah, and then that makes me think, well, what are they going to, you know, stand on the shoulders of their previous self next year?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they really have to do well this generation, or else their name will kind of be crushed by the other brands.
Yeah, I feel like it will be on its way to being phased out.
Maybe. I'm not sure if Nintendo would go down that fast,
No,
but
no, no. I mean, not that fast, but I mean, it would be the start of it.
oh, I guess that's possible. Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad thing to think about, but I don't know. I mean, I don't like Nintendo, but I don't want them to fail by any means, because they're an important part of the a part of
Right.
the industry. So yeah.
Agreed.
But specifically, Pokken Tournament DX, I think I saw a bit of that. I thought it looked pretty cool. Do you know what Pokken is? It's like a cross between Pokemon and Tekken.
No, I do not.
So it's basically a Pokemon fighting game, and I think it looks pretty cool. They need to improve their roster, though. We don't need 4 fucking Pikachus, Nintendo. So yeah, so that looks pretty cool. Hopefully we get maybe a gameplay trailer. Well, I guess it was already kind of a gameplay trailer. But I just hope we get more info on like a release date or something with that. If they haven't announced that, I don't know. I don't really pay much attention to Nintendo.
Right, yeah.
Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for the DS, I think. Not much to say about that, other than I hope it's as good as Black 2 and White 2 were, from what I've heard. Pokemon Stars for the Switch. I'm not sure why Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon have to exist when Stars is going to be coming out for the Switch. But whatever, I guess. Maybe it's just basically Sun and Moon, but for the Switch. Maybe that's what Stars is supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, hope it's good. Pokemon Gold and Silver re-release on the Virtual Console. That's pretty cool. That's pretty much my favorite. Gen 2 is my favorite Pokemon Gen, so that's cool. Although I'm wondering why they didn't put Crystal in there as well, because that's like pretty much the best version of Gold and Silver. So yeah, They talked about possibly doing another classic console with the SNES this time. I don't think people were. I don't know. I wasn't. Brian said he wasn't that impressed with them, and I'm not. I've never really cared about those, so. Yeah, because I mean, it's technically not that legal, but like, I would rather just use emulators. So yeah, and then we already briefly talked about Smash Deluxe for Switch. Basically, they just need to put in a ton of new shit to make people want to buy the game.
Right.
And then there's the possibility, since Castlevania is getting a TV show on Netflix, they might release a game along with it. And all I have to say about that is fuck Konami. I made it pretty clear what they would have to do to earn my respect again, and they haven't done that as far as I can tell, so Konami's pretty much dead to me, so that's fun.
Yikes. Alright.
So yeah, and then Sega, who works with Nintendo, we've already mentioned Yakuza Kiwami and Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces, so that's... Oh, and possibility of a Shenmue 3 trailer, so that's another thing. So that's pretty much all the conferences, as far as I can tell. So
Yeah.
quite a
Seems
lot
like
of stuff.
we covered most of the things.
Yeah, pretty good. I think there's a lot of interesting things. I don't feel like I'm quite as hyped up, except for like one game, except for Dissidia. But I don't know. Maybe that's just. I feel like games are getting a little bit less exciting over time. I hope that changes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was thinking that too, but I was wondering also if it was just me getting old and crotchety.
Yeah, I hope it's not me, or like I hope. Well, I guess I hope it's not the industry either, but I hope I can enjoy games. You know, that's
Well, hopefully the Coliseum portion and the part of, opening it to the public will help, bring in, or breathe in new life into what will be coming out for next year.
Yeah.
And what we'll see at E3 next year.
Yeah, and I
or
guess
even Gamescom.
and TGS as well. So we have to. I feel like we have to rely a lot on this type of thing, like open Q&As and the E3 Coliseum and these conferences, and specifically indie devs to bring us new things, because I think that's sort of the driving force behind the future of the gaming industry.
Yeah, I agree. I'm putting all my money on the indie games.
Yeah, I'm
As
not
far
much.
as far as who's going to make a bigger footprint for the next step.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we can kind of follow their lead, and I hope they have good stuff to give us. I'm not much of an indie gamer myself, but I definitely have a lot of, admiration and respect and hope for them. So, yeah. In general, Chris says that there's a lot of games on deck for the fall season, and hopefully lots still to come. And he's hoping for more details, really, and more gameplay than cinematic trailers. And as far as I can tell, it looks like that's how it's going to be. Again, I'm not particularly excited, but at the same time, I'm not expecting to be disappointed, partially because of that. I think it looks pretty solid this year, and I'm definitely, because of how I feel like there's not as much going on this year compared to previous years. So I am expecting some surprises. And ultimately, I think it's very interesting to see how E3 has changed over time, and indeed the entire gaming industry. So it's interesting at the very least. I might not be that excited for a lot of stuff this year, but it's an interesting time to be a gamer. So yeah, what about you? What are your final thoughts on E3?
Well, I am just thinking, I want more transparency.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to get my bingo.
Yeah, the bingo's gonna be fun this year.
For sure.
So yeah.
And I also want to see. I'm also hoping that the indie developers have a lot of promise this year.
Yeah, that would That would be. I think that's something that the gaming industry. Not that the gaming industry is doing bad right now. Definitely not. But I think it could really. We could really do with some huge changes like that, like something that indie devs could give us.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I guess if we've got nothing else to say about E3, then that's pretty much the whole thing. Sorry, Brian had to drop out, but that's just the nature of these things. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chris couldn't be here; he was busy. But hopefully, we can get all four of us, together again, and possibly maybe Ryan, but we're not completely sure about that. But Chris said he would probably be able to join us next week when we do our post E3 discussions video, and hopefully Brian can join us for most of that, or hopefully all of it next time as well. So yeah, look out for that. That's pretty much all we got for you. I'm Diego,
I'm Michelle.
and yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys next week with our post E3 discussions video. See you guys later.
See ya.